This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Oh, it's really, really loud. Okay, sorry. Ill prepared with the music. Hi, everybody. It is the After Party live on a Waterfall Wednesday. Boy, a lot of water outside. I was watching the chat today here, and I think I know we don't get political. I know we're soothing. It's the cool down, right? We're doing the cool down exercise, but before we get there, I just want to, and I love this comment from Maud, so welcoming to accept some bliss. And I have apricot jam and peas, samosas for lunch. Come over, she says. Wouldn't it be funny if someone knocked on your door and they're like, are you Maud from the After Party Live and the Mark Thompson Show? Because I heard you're feeding everyone today. I hope you enjoy that. It sounds lovely. Bring paneer, she says. That's so good. Yeah, I saw in the chat people saying that that we had that there's been stress ever since I won't call it a peace deal, the hostage deal was struck. Karen Cooper or Sandy writes, hard to hear that John Rothman was saying Trump deserves a Nobel Prize. And I think, and if I'm not mistaken, Mark indicated that as well. And it's about, and someone wrote earlier in the chat on the Mark Thompson Show, compartmentalizing, right? And that you can deserve it for this one big thing and maybe not for everything else. Someone else I saw typed in, love the difference of opinions. Thank you, Zero Sum, for that. And I think that's the difference with the Mark Thompson Show. We're not going to agree on everything just because we come from the same philosophy as far as kindness and empathy. I feel like we could still have disagreements on things and maybe not be completely aligned, maybe sharing information. But the difference is on the Mark Thompson Show, we share the information, we come at it in a way where we're learning together, we're talking about our opinions together, and come away better for it at the end, even if some days are harder than others. So thank you for that. I love the difference in opinions, Zero Sum. So do I. And I really appreciate it. And I also have to thank everyone for all the comments today that I was trying to flash up on the screen to show the difference of opinions. So I appreciate that as well. Yvonne with some news saying, I wanted to say I miss you all. My stepdad passed away Sunday. I'm so sorry, Yvonne. So I'm the main kid, she writes, involved in lots of plates spinning. Keeping them spinning. I get it. Yeah, it's been a rough year for me too. I had my dad pass away. And so I completely get that it's horrible and hard to go through this, and there's a lot to do and there's sadness. So I'm glad that you're still with us and that we, even if you're just listening instead of watching, that we can be here and be together still. So thank you. Maud, yeah, loving with the samosas. So thank you guys very much for supporting this show and being here and spending this hour just kind of doing the cool down. I have some wacky stories, some funny stories, some science stories, and of course, some waterfalls as well. Thank you to everyone who supports the show. First thing first, please click the thumbs up button and please click the subscribe button if you haven't already. Really appreciate it. Ready for 2025 to be over. Thank you. I'm ready for it too. Absolutely. Okay. Let's jump in. We're going to jump right in because I have this story for you about something that happened today. And I have the video actually. It is thought that a tornado touched down on the Central Coast in the Pescadero area. Look at the video. This video from KSBW on the Central Coast. You can kind of see the aftermath and a lot of wind-blown damage happening here. The owners of Flip Flop Farms in Pescadero at the far northern end of Santa Cruz County said they got a tornado that touched down. They think it's a tornado. The National Weather Service still looking into whether that is the case. But yeah, that is the footage from KSBW. You saw that of Flip Flop Farms. Wild, right? there's some crazy weather going on. We need the rain. Uh, but on the other hand, a tornado in California? What in the ever loving world? This tornado like event said to have caused damage at Flip Flop Farms, including a 200-pound water tank that they say was thrown across a highway. A lot of plants uprooted here. It happened last night, according to the people at Flip Flop Farms. About 8:30 to 9 a.m., the National Weather Service was out at that farm looking at the damage, assessing the situation. They're supposed to have an answer sometime today. The owner says, I stayed hunkered down because the wind was dangerous. There was a metal object that flew maybe 100, 200 feet, and they just waited for things to calm down. One of the hoop house metal structures was completely crumpled. There were metal posts scattered all across 100 feet away. They said the incident was unfortunate and humbling. They said they're out there on the edge of a cliff. Flip Flop Farms is located next to Año Nuevo, over the cliffs, looking at the cliffs overlooking the ocean, they said. So they're definitely exposed, but they didn't know that they were that vulnerable. They think that it's going to cost them thousands of dollars to cover the damages at Flip Flop Farms. So that's crazy. Here's a story that I think is kind of cool. Does that not look exactly like the mushroom from Super Mario? There's a story in Popular Science today, and they had to do the story because the picture's just so cool. That Mario's supersized mushroom exists in real life. They say, well, they actually power up trees, not plumbers. The 40-year-old video game helped make toadstools mainstream. Even if you've never seen Mario or played the game, which was first released in 1985 and is still going strong. My son playing the latest iteration of Super Mario. One of the symbols of this game has to be this toadstool, this mushroom. They say that the super mushrooms are one of the enduring symbols of the game, but it actually is a very real thing. The mushroom in the game was inspired by the real thing. The mushroom not only transforms Mario into Super Mario, right, that's robust Mario, but it's the first power up, right, in the Mario game. I don't know if you played it. It didn't apparently always look like this with the white spots. Originally, it was orange with red spots. But the real mushroom is instantly recognizable with its red cap and its white spots. Most people may recognize it from the game, but it is among hundreds of species that are both edible and poisonous, which account for 90% of all mushroom fatalities, including that. Did you hear the murder by mushroom case in Australia this year? So you want to be really careful when you're picking mushrooms and eating them. The Amanita mushroom, which is the mushroom you're looking at that has the cap warts, most are white, some of the dots are yellow. The caps come in a range of colors, including white, red, and brown. They say that given the majority of fungi on this planet are still undescribed, that the mushroom that doesn't look like this, that is in the game, might be out there waiting to be discovered. Whether or not this mushroom is edible is debatable and complicated. Rarely deadly, this species contains a psychoactive compound, and when consumed raw can cause delirium, visions, or nausea. Unlike the death cap mushrooms and destroying angels, many of the toxins found in the Amanita, they say, are water soluble and can be removed by boiling them prior to cooking or by other means as well. To the point that the FDA had to put out a warning last year saying that psychoactive edibles containing these ingredients are not authorized for use in food because some people were getting sick eating them. So I think the bottom line is don't eat mushrooms that you don't know what they are or that you find in nature. I know some people go mushrooming. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Only buy mushrooms that you know what they are at the store. But I just love the picture of this mushroom, super cool. There is a very creative lady in Southern California, and she decided that she was going to draw her license plate. I don't care whether you're a really good artist or not, this is not going to work. And the CHP agrees. They pulled this vehicle over because it was a fake license plate on the back that was hand drawn to resemble an official California plate. It's pretty good. The numbers at the end, maybe not so good. The CHP Merced station posting this saying the officer pulled the vehicle over when he noticed something a little unusual about the rear license plate. Took a closer look, figured out, oh, that's a handmade license plate. So he took a picture of the license plate with the hand-drawn letters and numbers, and even the state's plate logo was drawn on there, and a fake registration sticker. I mean, the whole thing, right? The CHP says, we are giving this driver points for creativity to the point where they had to post a picture of the plate. Here's the quote from the California Highway Patrol. While we appreciate the effort to stay compliant, after losing the original plate, California law requires vehicles to display state-issued plates only. If your plates are lost or stolen, you can easily get replacements through the DMV instead of breaking out the art supplies. Gotta give her some credit, though. Yeah, I think I say her. Might have been a him. I don't know. Would you ever have that thought? Gosh, my license plate fell off or was stolen. Well, I'll just draw one to slap up there until no. No, you can't do it. This story. Here's the family cat contributing to dinner. Caught a mouse and decided to drop it into the dinner cooking on the stove. That's a mighty surprise when you go to stir that pot. No thanks. Yeah. The security camera. They had to go back to the tape. Who put the mouse in the pot? It was caught on security cam. Yep. This foster kitten put the mouse in the human family's dinner. This also out of Merced. The SPA shared pictures captured by this home security camera in the foster family's kitchen, showing this foster kitten, Wendy, just dropping a dead mouse into a pot cooking on the stove. Wendy is a foster failure, they say, that was caught on the kitchen cam or kitten cam, adding spice to her mom's dinner. We should all be as thoughtful as Miss Wendy. I don't know why maybe foster failure. I don't know why they call her a failure. I think that's pretty successful. But Wendy's foster owner said she was out feeding her dogs when the kitchen camera recorded the attempt at cooking. She said the cat's suspicious behavior when she returned to the kitchen led her to check the camera footage, and that's when she saw the surprise that was in the pot. As you can guess, she said we had takeout for dinner that night. So there you go. What a great shot, though. I mean, I think Wendy's just trying to contribute, right? She's just trying to give back to the people that are giving her love. Jane says, we had a cat that put a mouse in his dish. Mouse jumped out and, of course, took a while to get it out. Oh, the mouse jumped out of it, and it took a while to get it out of the house. Oh, my. Kitty cat chef. Tammy says if she makes a habit of cooking, maybe not so popular. No. Donald says that's a smart cat. Knows what the pan is for. It's kind of what I thought. Trying to contribute to the family meal. Oh no, rat in the soup. Yeah, it is a pretty good photo. Awesome kitty. Yeah, that's pretty funny. I mean, I think it's funny. It's not so funny if it's in my pot, but I think that's pretty funny if it's in someone else's pot. This is a story that my apologies if at my tone if you are religious and this is offensive to you. I saw the story and I couldn't not do it. You can kind of see this guy's blurred. He urinated on a sacred altar at St. Peter's Basilica. I mean, of all the places, I don't know if he's trying to make a statement, if he has mental issues, what? Horrible. Horrible. People watching in absolute horror as this man, grown man, climbed the steps to the altar of the confession, dropped his pants, and then relieved himself. It happened in front of a crowd at St. Peter's Basilica. I won't show you the footage. The security personnel trying to pull this guy with his butt cheeks hanging out away from the altar. Really disrespectful. Whatever your view on religion, you don't go into worship and desecrate it. The man was detained by Vatican City police, believed to still be in custody. This desecrated altar is directly above the tomb of St. Peter. That is the church's very first pope. And it's where the current pope, the acting pontiff, traditionally performs mass. So this is a really, really important spot. And after the incident, Pope Leo urgently ordered priests to perform purification rites to restore the holiness of this place and to ask forgiveness from God. They had to bless it with holy water, recite prayers. They had to temporarily close down the St. Peter's Basilica Monday to get the sanitizing and cleaning done. Just crazy. Yeah. So, holiness restored, but can you believe someone? Awful. Here's a cool story. We just talked to Belinda Weymouth on the Mark Thompson show about helping sea creatures and kind of being a good, citizen of the world. This story is about saving sea turtles with solar-powered fishing nets. Using LED lights on these fishing nets reduced entanglements by 63%, according to a new study. A lot of fishermen, they call them fishers now because I guess you don't want to say man or woman, but whatever. A lot of fishermen, fisher people working in the night say it can be hard to keep creatures, unwanted animals out of their nets, but putting lights on the nets can reduce the bycatch of sharks and sea turtles. The problem is it's hard to keep the lights on because the batteries wear out really fast. They're really expensive to replace, and it's not always easy to get rid of them either. And the lights themselves can be heavy and weigh the nets down, making them sag. So they're not so easy to work with. Now they've got solar-powered lights. There's a team from Arizona State University that worked with the coastal gillnet fishers in Mexico, trying to develop lights that charge with the sun's power and that function like buoys. So they're, keeping the nets up instead of bringing them down. These LED lights can be threaded onto the float line like any other buoy and flash on and off to conserve energy. They can even stay on for 5 days without sunlight. This gear is so effective at preventing sea turtles from getting tangled in the gill nets. They did some experiments with the nets of Mexico, within the nets in Mexico's Gulf of California. And they said the turtle bycatch rates were reduced by 63% when they used these solar power illuminated nets that they can control. They say, while not statistically significant, although that seems significant to me, the experiments also found a higher catch rate of yellowtail fish in illuminated nets. They detailed all of the findings in a study today in the journal Conservation Letters. They say that actually the results were pretty exciting. It's a win-win in the sense that you're getting a light that lasts significantly longer, and it seems to reduce bycatch as effectively as lights that require replaceable batteries. So, The fishing gear entanglement is one of the primary threats to endangered sea turtles. I almost brought you guys a story the other day about humans being helpful to a dolphin calf, baby dolphin, who was entangled in fishing lines. But I thought the video was kind of sad and disturbing. And it is a sad commentary on the state of our oceans and what's happening to sea creatures. I want to lift you guys up instead of bring you down. So I brought you this story instead about people helping to keep it from happening in the first place. We know that entanglement is one of the biggest threats to endangered sea turtles and other creatures. There are, though, some signs that animals are recovering from this. The current population of green sea turtles are rising, though still a small fraction of those that once existed. But scientists look at sea turtles as being really important to maintain healthy oceans. These creatures have been around for 100 million years. They fulfill ecological roles that no other species can fulfill, according to the study researchers. So, developing fishing gear that's easy for people to use but less harmful to creatures like sea turtles and sharks and others is a really great way to address this issue. The idea for using solar-powered LED lights and turning them into buoys came from a couple of fishermen in Mexico who used these gill nets. They say they took us into account, gave us the freedom to give our opinions and make modifications to this product. They even gave them co-author credit on the study. For us, they say it's really important that it be done in collaboration because with what they know and what we know, we can do very interesting things. After they did the experiments, the brothers asked if they could keep the solar power lighted buoys. They said the gear made fishing easier because they didn't have to waste too much time removing turtles from the nets. They don't want to catch the turtles either. And the study author said, when I heard that they wanted to keep the gear, they knew that they were onto something. And that these brothers have been fishing with these lights on these nets ever since. Right now, they're, as far as they know, the only fishermen on the planet fishing with solar power lighted nets. So now the researchers are working with a manufacturer called Fish Tech Marine to make these buoy solar power lighted nets available. And hopefully they say they could have them on store shelves within 2 to 3 years. So they're also trying to figure out why they work. What is it about the turtle's response to light that makes them avoid the nets? Like a warning light flashing. How are turtles able to see that? I thought that was interesting. Let's look at this story about Alzheimer's blood test they have now that's getting approval. Picture of what's happening at the FDA. Finally, it's a hard diagnosis to get and a hard one to make as well, but there is another blood test now that could help doctors identify whether someone is likely suffering from Alzheimer's disease. This new test, it's kind of a complicated name. It's called Elecsys p-tau 181. It was developed by Roche Diagnostics, working with Eli Lilly. It's meant for people aged 55 and older showing early signs of cognitive decline. It works by bringing a Alzheimer's blood-based biomarker and the testing of it into primary care. The pharmaceutical company says they hope this can help patients and doctors get answers sooner to support them in their care and their journey with this. The Elecsys test measures levels of p-tau 181, which is a protein found in blood plasma. And if you have a higher level of that protein, it is sometimes linked to Alzheimer's and other brain diseases. They did a test of more than 300 people, and the test correctly ruled out Alzheimer's disease 97.9% of the time. When the test result is negative, there's a very high likelihood that the person does not have an Alzheimer's related pathology, according to researchers at Roche Diagnostics. So take it with a grain of salt that that research, is coming from that pharmaceutical company. But they do say it's important to note that for patients with a positive result, further clinical investigation and confirmatory testing for the amyloid pathology is needed for the final diagnosis of Alzheimer's. So better at ruling out if you don't have it than if you do. But multiple testing options being available could improve how doctors assess brain health and could change the way that the diagnosis is made and the tests that you have to go through in order to get there. So, another positive thing. Let's do the lotto of the day. This story about a kind of a sweet way to pick your lottery numbers. This Maryland man used the ages of his grandchildren to play the state lottery's bonus match 5 game. He's from Essex. His name is John. He told Maryland lottery officials that he took a month off from buying lottery tickets and playing games. And a month after he stopped, he went back to Mace Liquors and bought a bonus match 5 ticket and used numbers that corresponded with the ages of his grandchildren. He then went back the next day and asked the clerk to check the ticket. They told him he had won $50,000. He says his prize money will go toward home improvement projects and saving for the future. I don't know. I think if you used your grandchildren's ages, maybe you take, I don't know how many grandchildren you have. Has to be, what are there, 6 numbers that you would play? I don't know. You take at least 1,000 and give each grandchild 1,000 or something, right? Because they helped you win. I want to do this story kind of like the monkey story or the mushroom story, because it's such a cool picture. You kind of see the face on this orchid. These orchids, they're called Dracula orchids. They're vanishing in the wild. The article says that they look like little monkey faces peering out from the mist, but they're called, in some cases, monkey face orchids or Dracula orchids. And they have different faces. Some look like they're frowning, some look like they're smiling. It kind of makes them lovable. But sadly, this species of orchid is right on the edge of extinction. There's a new global assessment of them that's been done. And it looked at the conservation status of all known Dracula orchids, and the findings are apparently dire. In this article in Popular Science, the indication is that out of 133 species assessed, 7 in 10 are threatened with extinction. Many exist only in tiny fragments of a forest, some in just 1 or 2 known locations. A few are known only from plants growing in cultivation, and their existence in the wild may already be completely gone. Most of these orchids grow mainly in the Andean cloud forests of Colombia and Ecuador. These are areas that are really biologically rich, but also host some of the most endangered ecosystems on the planet. They survive on cool, humid conditions at mid to high altitudes where mist wraps the trees and the flowers. But they're being cleared, these areas, for cattle pastures and crops, expanding roads, mining projects. And that is threatening this species, several Dracula species as well, because the forests are shrinking and the orchids are losing their microclimates, the only places that they can thrive. But the article also lists another threat: people's fascination with them. So these pictures of these flowers are being put all over the internet, and they say many people that love them and professional growers treat the plants responsibly, but some are still going out in the wild and looking for these wild orchids. And these Dracula species are no exception to that. So, for a plant that may exist in populations where there's only a few dozen of them, if someone goes out and tries to collect them, it can be something that has a disastrous consequence. There is a place in Ecuador in the northwestern Andes where there's a reserve called Reserva Dracula, and they're trying to protect these orchids. So, still they're at the brink. That's what's going on with the Dracula orchids. Really cool looking species. Check this out. Didn't used to be able to go here, but now you can walk through the secret tunnel at the Colosseum once used by ancient Roman emperors. Imagine feeling the history as you walk through that passage. As a matter of fact, experts say the notorious Emperor Commodus may have survived an assassination attempt right in this very tunnel. And after extensive restorations, this tunnel is open to the public for the very first time. It's known as the Commodus Passage, after the emperor, the same one that was depicted in Gladiator. The statement from the Colosseum Archaeological Park says the underground tunnel begins outside the amphitheater and ends at the Pulvinar, or the imperial box, where the ancient Roman rulers sat to watch the gladiator fights and the battles staged in the Colosseum. The amphitheater itself was completed around 80 CE, and the tunnel was added sometime between the 1st and 2nd centuries. And after the inauguration of the monument, they decided that this underground corridor, to allow the emperors to get inside the Colosseum without getting, near the riffraff or being touched by people, would be secret and a private area. They said it's something very particular because they had to cut through the foundation. It's an S-shaped passage. S is in Sam. It was discovered in 1810, excavated in 1874, re-examined in the 1990s, restored in the 2020-2021 era, and they did another restoration of the tunnel in 2024, and they just finished it last month. At one point, the passage was covered with plaster and painted with landscapes, and I have a picture of that. You can kind of see what it used to be, and the swirls and the design on the wall there. Interesting. The restoration uncovered traces of marble that once lined the tunnel's walls, later covered with plaster and painted with intricate landscapes. The passage also featured stucco depictions of the myth of Dionysus and Ariadne, and its entrance was decorated with scenes related to the Colosseum, like boar hunts and bear fights. So with a little effort of imagination, they say, and help of a virtual reconstruction, hopefully visitors will be able to appreciate the decorations, the stuccos, the frescoes, and the marbles that covered the walls. They say the tunnel would have allowed emperors to avoid both the people of Rome and its senators as they entered the Colosseum. It was supposed to keep the emperor safe, although, as we know from the movie, Commodus may have faced grave danger inside of it. According to historical sources, someone made an attempt on his life in a corridor. Probably this is the corridor where it happened. Commodus, the son of Emperor Marcus Aurelius, started ruling alongside his father in 177, and when Marcus Aurelius died in 180, Commodus assumed sole power. There was a period before he took over of peace and prosperity, but then he took over and started executing people. He was paranoid and petty, thought of himself as a god. In 192, an attempt on Commodus's life succeeded, And then his advisors directed a champion wrestler to strangle him to death. Yikes. The passage is now open to the public, and it is the first time. So visitors will appreciate what it is like to be an emperor, according to people who are running it at this time. Walking right through, and there we go. All right, we're cooling it down with Waterfall Wednesday. You guys ready? Take a little moment to appreciate it. Yesterday on our Travel Tuesday trip, we went to upstate New York, and so I looked up some of the waterfalls nearby. Of course, Niagara Falls is there, but also look at this one. This is one of the most stunning waterfalls in New York. It is called, and Niagara Falls is number 1 on the list. Number 2 is this one, Cohoes Fall. It's in the Saratoga area, and it sits on the Mohawk River, right in the heart of the small city of Cohoes. It's about 1,000 feet across and 90 feet high. Summer a prime time to check out this waterfall because there's some spring rain that keep the falls going and the greenery growing as well. There is a 192-foot long pedestrian bridge that'll take you from the parking lot to the Falls Views Park Overlook, where you can find a scenic viewing area to check it out. Next one on the list is called the High Falls Gorge. It's in the Adirondacks. Check out this one. Wow. Also with a viewing area, you can see right above the falls, so you can stand there and look over, see the water crashing down. High Falls Gorge is a 22-acre privately owned park, 10 minutes from Lake Placid. There are 4 majestic waterfalls that have bridges, walkways, and see-through viewing platforms. You can check out the Ausable River as you walk alongside. There are multiple trails to view the falls here. There's an easy path trail, and then there's some more complicated trails, but there are wooded decks and walkways and stairs and glass platforms suspended over the raging river. There's one trail you can find at the ancient Valley of Foaming Water. They say it's named because of its deep crevice carved by the river 1 billion years ago. This one's in central New York, and it is called Chittenango Falls. Look at that. What a picturesque, beautiful scene. It looks like a staircase of cascading water, and it is said to be roaring. The bedrock, 400 million years old, creating a cool mist surrounding Chittenango Falls. The creek is 167 feet below the water, where the waterfall starts. The water twists and turns around rocks and small outcroppings of plants and grasses. The park where it's located, 194 acres. And you're supposed to, if you're here, keep an eye out for the Chittenango ovate amber snail. It's an endangered species found nowhere else on Earth. The Chittenango ovate amber snail. So don't step on any of those. Number 5 on the list of, it's 11, but I'm going 10 because I didn't show you Niagara Falls because we've been there. We've seen that one, right? I haven't been there in person, but I know we've covered it here on the show. The next one is called the High Falls Conservation Area. It's really pretty. I would imagine this one might be a little more difficult to get to. Here's a picture of it. It is 150 feet tall, very powerful, in a secluded oasis. It's a 1-mile trail that winds you through hemlock ravines alongside a creek. Ultimately, you get to an open vantage point where you can see this waterfall, which crashes down rocks and ends in an aqua-colored pool. That's pretty cool. So I know we're not going to cover Niagara necessarily, but I do want to take you to Letchwork State Park, which is number 6 on the list. It is Greater Niagara, but Letchwork State Park was voted best state park in the United States. in 2025. They call it the Grand Canyon of the East. It's a 14,000-acre scenic park with year-round scenery, and it's got the three large waterfalls, lower, middle, and upper between the cliffs. The falls reach 600 feet high in places, carved by the Genesee River and surrounded by lush forests. Countless spots to relax and check out the waterfalls. 66 miles of hiking trails. You can go horseback riding, biking, all of this at Letchwork State Park. Pretty cool. I like this one, and I love when and I know it's not hard to see rainbows. You can see the one in the picture here too. But look at this one. This is so pretty. This is Salmon River Falls. It is in a unique area. A quarter-mile accessible stroll gets you to viewing areas for this 110-foot tall waterfall. The water plunging over a steep cliff of shale and limestone, making its way down to Lake Ontario. The falls flow into three distinct ribbons, each with uniquely beautiful characteristics. You can see the one on the far right has a little more steps as it flows down. The one in the middle, thinner, still beautiful. And then the one on the left looks like it's heavier on the left side of that waterfall than the right, but so pretty. This man-made but still impressive called the Croton Dam. And look at the water flowing down. I bet standing in front of it is quite a sound. You hear quite a sound, the roaring of that water. The Croton Dam, located at Croton Gorge Park in the Hudson Valley. This area, a 97-acre property, ideal for taking in the views. They've got fishing available, picnicking, hiking, and you have direct trail access to New York State's Old Croton Aqueduct. The dam with a spectacular waterfall tumbling down the rocks beside it, and a footbridge that spans the Croton River, giving you magnificent views of the falls and the spillway that feeds them as well. Really cool. The next one on the list is called Awosting Falls. And it looks like it's kind of more in a remote area. At least that's how it looks to me. They say fans of Severance can find the tallest waterfall on the planet, featured in the show's second season with the enchanting Minnewaska State Park Awosting Falls. It is a 60-foot water tall, flows down into the Peterskill Creek in close proximity to the parking area for the park. So it's easy to see, apparently. It's about a 0.6 mile easy hike to the waterfalls. This stream that runs alongside it, easy to see as well. It is a beautiful area. And I don't know if I'm going to say this right. People that grew up here can correct me. Is it the Tuffanock Falls? There's a bunch of GHs in this. The Tuffanock Falls. Here's the picture of it. Look at the way it crashes down at the bottom. Love it. Tuffanock Falls carves a 400-foot gorge through layers of rock that were once the bed of an ancient sea. It plunges 215 feet past rocky cliffs. The waterfall, 3 stories taller than Niagara Falls. Really cool. You can get amazing views of this by taking the Gorge Trail, the South Rim Trail, or the North Rim Trail for all different vantage points of Tuffanock Falls. That's really cool. And the last one on the list is called the Watkins Glen State Park. It's at Finger Lakes. Also, though, with this beautiful waterfall. Here it is, the Watkins Glen. This one looks much more powerful, but check out this one. It's got these stairs right next to the waterfall, making it easy to access. The roaring waterfalls, the dramatic flumes, the picturesque gorges, all here at the Watkins Glen State Park. 19 waterfalls in this park within 2 miles. The Glen stream descends 400 feet past 200-foot cliffs, and you can see them as you climb up and down and in between rocks that are more than 300 million years old. There are easy stone pathways, arched bridges, and winding tunnels on a 1.5-mile gorge trail. That's Watkins Glen State Park. So much to see in upstate New York, from Watkins to Tuffanock to Awasting and the Croton Dam and Salmon River Falls and Letchworth State Park, the High Falls Conservation Area, the Chittenango Falls, that one's really pretty, the High Gorge Falls, and the Cohoes Falls. There you have it. It's the Waterfall Wednesday that you didn't even know you needed, but you needed it, right? Yeah, I think so. Upstate New York, full of natural beauty. These falls are the best ever. Oh, Eileen, I'm so glad you like them. Wonderful. Zero Sum wants to shave and shower under the waterfall. It's paradise. Heather looking at the strata and the rock. It's just the whole picture. So beautiful. Yeah, super beautiful, says Zero Sum. Always need more rainbows. I miss that about Hawaii. Me too, Rhonda. Absolutely. Really cool. Need some more cowbell, but we need some more rainbow. On this show, we do. Always, somewhere, there are pots of gold. Eileen, loving the waterfalls. Awesome. Could I spell the name of the snail for you? Yes, I think I will. Spell the name of the snail. And this is, go back to the Chittenango ovate amber snail. What I'll do is I'll copy it and put it on the screen so you can see it on a banner, which is easier, I think, than me trying to spell it. And while you're looking at that, there it is, the Chittenango ovate amber snail. Maybe I can find a picture of it and show you a picture of the snail. Don't we love a special species, right? That's only seen one place in the world. Here it is. It looks just kind of like a regular snail, although it does have a cool little yellow thing on it. Little yellow. I don't think normal snails have this, but here's what it looks like. I have to take the Waterfall Wednesday thing down. And here it is. That's what it looks like. See if I can make it bigger. There's your Chittenango snail. Hello, little snail. Living in a great place right next to the waterfall where it's all moist and misty. Ooh, I said moist. There you go. Anyway, that is Waterfall Wednesday. Thank you for participating and being part of it all. I hope you had a great day. I hope you've cooled down now. Mark will be back on the Mark Thompson Show tomorrow. Sarah Kenzier is on the show tomorrow. David Katz is on the show tomorrow. Thursday's shaping up to be one of the best days of the week on the Mark Thompson Show. So I do hope that you'll join us. And please put on your calendar that the Nikki Maduro Show is happening tomorrow as well. And I'll take down our cute little snail. And that is at 5 p.m. Pacific tomorrow night. So I do hope you'll join us for cocktails, mocktails, and politics on the Nikki Maduro Show. Huge, huge thank you to everyone who supports this show in all the ways that you do it. All important, all helping the show survive. And I'm just really grateful to everyone who cares enough to help keep it going. It makes me think that you want it to continue. And so continue it shall. The folks that have contributed most recently include Wes and Scott R. Wes again, Yvonne B., Amy S. Thank you guys so much for the financial contributions to this show. Thank you to Teacher Lori and to Calvin Wong and to Yvonne and everyone who sends messages and words of support, and to all of you for being here today. Thank you. Thank you. Huge, huge thank you. I do have, yeah. Okay, good. making sure that I got everything and I didn't miss anybody. All right. I will see you tomorrow on the Mark Thompson Show. And again, Mark will be in, but until then, make it a great rest of your Wednesday.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
Zero sum wants the dogs out.